Yes? I'm glad to hear it, Detective. I was wondering when we'd get to this very subject. If you ask me, it's high time for you to set aside these frivolous side tasks and focus 100% of your energies on the case before us. Why are you pronouncing it like that gentleman from the Institute of Price Stabilité? You know what? Forget it. What specifically are you trying to assign responsibility for? Now I understand. Next, I suppose you're going to tell me you need to form a committee to assign this responsibility? Simple. Because moral intern types love to form committees. In any event, I am just a humble law official. I may work under the moral intern's umbrella, but I'm certainly not qualified to serve on any committee. You know who might be, though? That Mr. Villedroit, the gentleman you needlessly antagonized in the apartments. If you are trying to get in touch with the Coalition, I would start by finding some way to apologize to him. But first, you might need to speak with his young companion. Now, was there anything else?
Old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
It's military, a service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
familiar apparatus lies among the reeds, another one of Morel's traps, weighed down by stones to keep it in place. The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze, weighed down by rain. They seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap. Of course. Noted.
Winter, slow to let go of Revachol, flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. And to think, it seemed as though it were already spring. You're warm in your hat and your coat. Like a well-equipped explorer, you comfortably survey the white landscape. More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings, crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dark piles, grey and red forgotten city blocks, what remains of the pre-revolutionary effort to gentrify the coast. The waters turn black, coal city in the shadow of Saint Martin, a boom town, back when coal extracted from countless shafts near the city was needed to power Revachol. No more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower from the Esperance. Everything crumbled. These days, only the weakest remain in Coal City. Their hopes of getting rich linger in the defunct shafts under their feet. Below the old mines, l'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery, Le Petit Rat, braved the underground passageways, trying to get to Le Royaume, where the Philippian kings were interred with their doctors and their admirals. Mausoleums, burial chambers, leaf gold still remains on the double door of the morning. Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums, and for fabled relics. Their parents let them. They go deeper. After rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safle and Seol during the time of the suzerain, in the burial chambers of the kings, Grand Old Philip, Guillaume II, and even in the mausoleum of Philip the Opulent. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors have been placed, so that daylight may eternally fall upon the richest of all the kings. The mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure magenta cocaine, favored by Revacholian royalty. Did someone say untold quantities of cocaine? Drop everything immediately and go looking for this hoard. How can it be pure if it's magenta? Snow falls and there is no answer. Some things are not for mortals to know. Few petits rats return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child steps out of the black tunnel with silver trinkets in her pockets. All around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The snow melts on your fingers, turning to water. Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff, the storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle. Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it, but who knows? More coalition aerostatics. Occasionally, lights flash as they maneuver through the falling snow. One large airship carries crates in its belly. The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. There is laughter, lights, attempts at entrepreneurial activity, cynicism. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and a fine perch for winter birds. A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean cube-shaped office building hidden amidst ruins. A secret. The abandoned church, its walls covered with hoarfrost now. One of Lissette's sœurs. The other 6 sisters were destroyed during the revolution. A serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out on nearby islets. Little dots in the ocean that are occasionally submerged when the tide is high and the weather foul. Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. You cannot see that far. The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water, air brinier than here. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos. Wild pines, Zam, Maurien. And at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the coalition warship Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rise up against the market. You shudder. The raised motorway 881, with vehicles whooshing past one another day and night, while those who reside beneath the motorway attempt to carry on with their lives in the snow and the slush. And south of the 881 is the Pox. Was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during a measles outbreak that killed many children. Most everyone has avoided the hospital and surrounding park ever since. The Pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roaming in packs. The police try to keep the deepest corners cordoned off. Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something to get high on among the hastily abandoned supplies, or just to overdose in peace. A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 41. Snow settles on the roof of the repurposed silk mill. It serves as your station. Shivering RCM personnel hurry in and out of the main entrance. Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells. A chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Somewhere in the south, tarpaulin flap in the wind.
We should keep moving. Who knows when the snow will let up.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. There's a bitter, caustic taste on the tip of your tongue as you look at the cold metal is hard and hurts your knuckles. You look at them, turning purple. It didn't give you any fun for that money. Your hand is turning blue now. Blood drips to the ground. Bent metal, broken glass. Your path lies strewn with the broken forms of everyday objects. You are the destroyer, the bane of inanimate matter. Kudos. This is the trap Morell just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality. The reeds by the abandoned campsite sway and tremble while the snow falls all around. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel strange, somehow. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done. Of course. Noted.
It takes you a moment, but finally you spot the last of Morell's traps. This one's partially obscured by the reeds. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building loom over the reeds. They whisper amongst themselves, confidentially. Snowflakes cling to their shivering stems. When this district was booming, the reeds were kept at bay. Nothing obscured the freshly painted facades. Nowhere for drunks and adventurous teenagers to hide. Now only the wind blows. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there. I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others. Like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not. We did sort of promise to tell them, didn't we?
one brutal motor carriage.
If I were a real skull now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it, neon style.
A snazzy shit-ripped skullmobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could hang fucking shrunken heads from the side mirrors. Cops' heads. Scary tribal shit.
Yeah, tribal shit. A cop carriage like this would have proper skull value.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there. The RCM takes threats directed at its property seriously.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man, if we were certified skulls right now...
Skulls. Now there's a strong organizational title.
I can tell you who we're not, cop. We're not snitches or skulls.
Which is not to say that the skulls are bitches and... On the contrary.
The part of this presentation you want to take home with you, cop man, is we're not part of the skulls. Yet.
Okay then, let's indulge in some intellectual exchange. These young men seem eager to share their beliefs.
You don't know? What kind of cop are you?
It's not a question. Don't get into it.
The Skulls are the most vicious gang of the Besmertne.
Besmatine, or the Besmati, the Immortals, are West Rivasholian crime syndicates.
The nastiest bunch of psychos ever. Jacking carriages and getting into high-speed chases.
Possessing an infinite amount of fuck-all swagger, infamous for their non-verbal modus operandi.
If a skull spots you, he will pull out his dagger and stab you without saying a word.
The lieutenant's voice is as calm as usual, a testament to the violence and death he's witnessed through the sight of his firearm.
They usually occupy the burnt-out quarter in Jamrock, or you can find them loitering around their brightly painted bottom-lighted vehicles.
I can't wait to become a skull. Bottom lights are wretched aggressive. Murder? Yeah, sure. We'll gladly tell you everything we know about it. It was a man.
Also, he was hanged. He was hanged from a tree.
Yeah, I mean, duh.
These punks don't know anything. Let's just move along.
Hey, stop right there. How does one know anything?
Ah, this sounds like epistemology, a field so occupied by thought that it begins to question thought itself.
Exactly. How can one know shit? For example, how can one be sure that there truly is a body hanging behind a hostel?
What if it's art? Or just a mere specter?
Maybe it's true. The hanged man is merely a prop in a performance. We are the audience, and the artist is hiding somewhere in the dark.
So what do you think we know? What about them? Well, first off, it's a statement and not necessarily something that characterizes me as a person, even though the statement has character. And I do like piss. The word piss epitomizes the struggle taking place in the world. Things being defined as they seem, not as they are. And, I guess, it's also about communal spirit, the future, and truly appreciating our differences. Also, you've got to admit, it catches the eye. And since the Grand Piper is slowly but steadily moving towards basing the economy on it, attention, it is imperative that the medium itself convey the message. What I mean by this is, we are all pissed, and that the world is inherently meaningless.
It seems that the young man has a certain expertise in at least one field, even if it's rather narrow.
Like I said before, many men keep searching for the one, for so-called true love, which is actually just obsession masquerading as kinship. The thrill of the chase, the hollowness that fills your chest cavity after catching it.
I'm wondering if the poetics come with the jacket, or are they derived from something else entirely?
To catch a fish, you'll need to hurl the lure many times, and even then it isn't certain that you'll get anything. If you blow up the lake, though, you get more fish in a shorter time. And, for time is of the essence and fleeting ever so quickly, one must think of a way to fuck the whole world and not get caught up in fucking someone. Because when one fucks everything, he fucks nothing. And that, to me, feels glorious. Sticking your dick into the void.
Hate to admit it, but in a weird way, he's got a point. Is it a coincidence that here we have 2 badass jackets and 2 badass cops? Your lack of imagination is baffling, but you do make up for it with, yes, questions.
Oh yeah, Cindy's a right proper skull.
Yeah, a true artist of the future. Just like Arno van Eyck.
By the way, if you see Cindy, give her our regards.
For all their nihilistic posturing, these young men are not lacking in youthful idealism. The lieutenant on your left is unusually lenient toward them.
The Union does their share of policing in Martinez, at least where gangs are concerned. That's why there isn't much organized crime around here.
Don't you worry about that. We're gonna make up for the deficit.
Yeah, we are. We're not franchise skulls. Well, not yet. Once we get our name out there, we'll have a chance to join them. Because we can be just as psycho and vicious. You'll see.
Ah, you'll see for sure once we're in. It's the last thing you'll ever see before the void consumes you.
Throw him off his game.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're only saying practice things for now, so we don't mean no harm to the Skulls brand, or to you.
This is definitely something the Skulls would say, but we're not trying to encroach on the Skulls brand in any way. On the contrary, we're just here to market it. We think of it more like 2 franchises merging. You know, us 2 and the Skulls. I really feel like we would add more to the table. Spice things up here in Martinez, you know. Get the old machine of pain and suffering oiled up real good. There can always be more. In the end, it won't matter. Till then...
Hey, we could be just as hard. Like pavement on top of pavement, or a brick on top of another brick.
Or a grave on top of a grave.
These kids have the vocabulary, but might be missing a brain. Wouldn't a grave on top of a grave be just a big hole? What's hard about holes? Filling them up, baby.
Oh man, yeah! We're not fucking kids, man.
Be wary of the abyss.
Probably because of how non-verbal their mode of operation is going to be. It's a threat.
That's right. You should back off and let silence rule supreme.
This is ridiculous. Boys, do you know why the gang is called Skulls?
Yeah. The skull symbolizes the embrace of death and nothingness, present in all of us. The vehicle of our future operations. Death and nothingness.
They're called Skulls because when you are shot dead in the middle of the street, the skull is the only part the stray dogs want to eat.
Just trust me and follow my lead. No reply. The blonde rebel scratches his chin, deliberately not focusing his gaze on anything. He looks very uncomfortable. The other one shuffles uncomfortably, nevertheless continuing to steal glances at the lieutenant's motor carriage.
Mm-hmm.
You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes. You won't regret it.
That ride is fucking.
Hey, piss. Look who it is. Shrunken cophead material.
That ride is fucking.
Hey, piss.
That ride is.
Hey, piss. Look who.
No, no, no. Don't ask anything. Be subtle and scary. The boys dream about being skulls. Use that. Suggest they're massive skulls. Come on.
What? No. Skulls don't have kings. I think. And we're not even in yet.
Yeah, man, keep your voice down. Skulls don't take it lightly when folks pretend to be them. We're not even prospects yet.
Prospect must be a hierarchical term. Probably in the lower end.
Wow, you boys are ambitious. Only prospects and already planning a coup in the skulls. You're destined to go far.
He gets it. Passive-aggressive flattery.
Shut the fuck up. Are you trying to get us killed?
Now bring it to the jackets and, yes, start shouting.
Please be quiet. What? What do you want? The jackets?
Oh, man. Okay. I get it. Skulls don't really wear slogans anyway. This was stupid.
Fuck.
I'm absolutely okay with not having either one, thank you. This case doesn't require us to go undercover or raise hell. In fact, I don't think the jackets will be useful at all. I just wanted them to not have them anymore.
Cold-hearted cop.
The need will not arise.
The jackets are meant to complete each other. If a man was standing alone on a street corner with piss written on his back, It'd just be an individual that has taken a liking to urine. And fuck the world all on its own is, frankly, generic.
I don't know, Eric. It's cold out.
Yeah, let's get out of here. The cops fucked us.
Fuck does Kuno care? Kuno doesn't.
The trash container stands in the springs. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. The container sounds a muffled gong.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Meskin origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Of course, dear. Is there a particular cryptid that you're interested in learning about? No, it's the cryptid. Oh, yes. The 8-eyed teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said.
Mutation? All of evolution is a mutation.
Until it was cited by renowned Gottwaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue comes up completely empty. But, of course, You are not all-knowing.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamrau Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm. Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird. It seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uwe got there, the Teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times. Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plattenkalk followed the Teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall where the bird finally landed to rest. The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist.
Watch out!
Then the Teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. What the bird was controlling his mind. It kept him from approaching. He could step back, but every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uwe spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away. The 8-eyed Teratorn was indifferent to him as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind. Absolutely, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Oamrau is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets.
Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one by the end of the decade, latest.
This one I liked. Not only does it have 8 eyes, and is a living fossil, and the largest bird ever to live, it also does mind control.
He's sincere. He likes the audacity of it.
Sadly, yes, but there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Ilmara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes.
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
Very, very hard.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know? Of course, dear.
Ha ha! Nothing like the gratitude of a good woman. Now then, what can I do for you? Good. Okay. And? Completely empty?
No locusts?
That's not ideal, but...
It just means the Insulindian Phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct them.
Of course, more clever.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locust and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds.
I appreciate your concern, officer, but please leave this to the experts. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture.
You're jabbing at the soft underbelly of his psyche. He realizes he's gotten defensive.
Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is...
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Damn it, Lieutenant. Have you no intellectual curiosity?
All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what...
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid? The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Just like an ordinary ardent moose. You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify.
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's kidding, right?
Of course you do.
The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more. Sightings in Vasa, reaching back 4 centuries. But, of course, nothing satiates the skepticism of...
A detective. Pardon me, I did not wish to seek conflict. It's simply my training to question things.
Understood, Lieutenant. A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting.
The woman nods thoughtfully, while her hands smooth over the plaid covering her knees. There is some uncertainty in that motion, no? Smoothing the fabric like that, as if looking for some kind of confirmation.
That's impressive, I guess. But have you seen it with your own eyes? Of course you haven't. I haven't had a chance to travel to Coco North, no, and I likely never will. The Samaskill desert region has been embroiled in a small civil war for the last 8 years. I fear this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be constant.
Yes, sightings of mirages are constant. A mirage is a constant phenomenon that people have no time to report when a war is going on. It remains unclear what this has got to do with you seeing it, as he was inquiring before. He was just being defensive.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time.
A bit of jealousy there. He'd want that glory, truth be told, even if he'd have to inject himself with bacteria to get it.
Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nong-Ok. A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nong-Ok to run faster than any other avian, perhaps any other animal, who knows. When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Ok hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared. Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. A chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side. Did he? That one's a hoax. Some Seraise rice farmers set fire to rhinoceros cadavers and use them to scare tourists.
Gary obliviously stares at the stage, safe in the knowledge the burning rhinoceros exists.
Many of them probably are. Statistically speaking, about 20% of all cryptids are verified hoaxes. Uncovering falsehoods deliberately fabricated to fool the public is just as much my calling as finding new species.
If perhaps slightly less enjoyable.
Many times. It always turns into an argument. I don't want to repeat it. The rhino holds a special place in his heart. Let it. Myths are part of my field.
Which one? The burning rhino is where they draw the line.
Did you? It is almost as difficult to confirm a hoax as it is to confirm a sighting. No offence, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence.
Be friendly, dear. The detective really likes these critters. We've talked about them in great detail.
By all means. Hello. Lena and I were just discussing the design of the new trap.
Very generous of you to help us out, officer. I'm sure glad to be back from that little excursion. I mean, officers.
Hello. Lena and I were just discussing the...
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person, hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child want with bugs?
Oh, my dear Morel, you've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
Delinquents, my favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
He hasn't been particularly forthcoming before. He may well still be hiding something. After he's left, it's too late.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs. Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologise, Geary. You've been more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though.
Always a pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers.
Hi, gendarme. Another rendezvous. Hello, hello. So what brings you here? Oh, a committee. How interesting. There's only one problem. I don't think he wants to talk with you. Yes. I think that would be prudent. In any case, I would love to help. But the thing is, I don't know where he is. We don't talk about everything, you see. He might have mentioned something about making a tour of some historical sites up the coast. In an unofficial capacity, of course. Not a clue. I guess you will. Admiring the atmosphere. What about you, officer? Maybe you should figure it out, detective. Oh yes, let's see. He knocked on my door a few days after the lynching. I think he was going through the entire building, asking questions. Nothing. That I didn't see anything. What friend? No, I don't think it came up. Muscular, handsome, strong, like one of those military types. Yes, but he was speaking to someone on his earpiece. Yes, you know those tiny speaker microphones that fancy security guards sometimes wear. Just reporting back whatever I was telling him. Oh, let me think. He had an accent. He sounded like one of those mercenaries. He sounded vaguely Oranese. No, not vaguely, scratch that. He sounded definitely Oranese. Sure. Anything else on your mind? You did? And how did you like him? I told you, he can be very useful. I guess that's the charm of powerful people. A visitor from the first world. He's not like you and me, gendarme. He can always return. To his opportunities in Occident, sur la clé. Still, his coming and going brings some life to the village. Or is it just money? I don't know. Friends, I told you. Sunday friends. Friends who like to get together from time to time. That he won't be there when times get tough, I guess. It is. On Sundays. He has keys. And he likes the view. To the sea, I mean. What about me, gendarme? Bye-bye, gendarme.
Again? I can't believe this shit.
Yes? What is it?
The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden inside its belly. The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden in... The bear's eyes are still glowing red. Your arms reach out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, slippery flesh, first with your fingertips, then under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a spider, your hand crawls over his features. Everything is silent. They are swollen shut. You need to really push to get in. Only the little one fits. The flesh changes shape as you bore in, searching for something in the cartilage. The thing you're looking for, it's not there. Crawl out, spider. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your naked hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from the throat, and there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Abrasion collar.
A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brain stem. Yes, that's what this part is called. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. This man will never sleep again, never wake. Your fingers slide into the remains of his limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. This is what he used to regulate his emotions with. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly, cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Sharp, serrated material. The edges cut right into your skin. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush.
Can you get to it?
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just...
Good.
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth, covered in blood up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-caliber. Rifle. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. Of course, you've earned it. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion color. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing, we should amend injury number 3, ligament mark. New opinion, non-fatal, post-mortem, treatment.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
Yes, and the belt around his neck, the hanging, even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. I've had this doubt since you showed me the tracks, officer. We could not account for why they carried him over. Why not march him? There was no satisfying explanation. There have been other signs too. Small details. Everything is too neatly designed for us to assign probable cause here, as we did, full-heartedly. Well, no more.
There is, of course, the very real possibility he was both shot and hanged.
To put him out of his misery? It's possible, but it does not explain all the other dubious things here. Lack of struggle, primarily. I may be intellectually sloppy, but I prefer one theory at a time. And this just smacks of treatment to me. That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier. To hide something. The real killer, the real motivation, what really happened here. Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case. Tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
All right. I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
Kuno care? No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to Lane Prison! Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
There's definitely something going on here. Remember his pig's head shack? You should check it out.
Kuno doesn't fucking...
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising. Accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants. Sounds like you found the locust, detective. Heaps of leaves are rotting among the mud-caked towers. Dozens of little locusts feed on them, buzzing away with vicious joy. Kuno has really outdone himself here. It's the work of a self-taught visionary.
Fuck does Kuno care? Yeah. Kuno took the bugs, so what? It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
You stop. It's like they're fucking night. Locust City, Night City, City of Rage.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort.
Kuno, the pig wants to help you. Oh, that's how lame it is. Please just don't say you're...
An artist? Maybe I am an artist. You hear that, everyone? I'm a fucking artist now.
Did he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno, Kuno.
Kuno made Kuno. Kuno says whatever the fuck he wants. There are no rules here, pig. I fucking say I when I wanna, and Kuno when I wanna. Kuno's free. Kuno's free to fucking die, bitch.
This is what he sometimes does when things get tense.
Oh my god, Kuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in, like, 3 seconds! Don't let him, Kuno!
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno! You'll have to take me away!
In it, you hear snow melting, dripping from the eaves. Someone closing a window. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. She was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with Kuno. She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno is finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first-person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not I.
It don't mean anything. It's shit. Kuno just likes to focus. Kuno likes to concentrate on shit. Build shit when he's zipping hard. Fuck. Pig, you really shouldn't have fucked with Kuno City. Now it's all fucking lame. Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit.
The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. The squished little thing has no idea. I know. You should find the gun that shot this bullet. That sounds like something a police detective would do. First, you should learn all you can about this little guy. Then find the gun that shot it and the person that gun belongs to. He used it to kill your victim. Neato. The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. You wouldn't ordinarily have cause to handle jacketed bullets. The citizens' militia uses cast bullets only. Little pebbles of metal loaded from the muzzle, usually in a cartridge. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. The core is lead. The brass jacket probably didn't cover the entire bullet. Otherwise, the softer metal wouldn't have expanded quite like that. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound. What's interesting about the bullet thus far? Exactly. A very unusual jacketed bullet. One that would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzle-loader like those typically found on the streets of Martinaise. Very interesting. You have an unusual military-grade bullet in your hand. Now all you need is to find a gun that could fire it. A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. Incidentally, you have just such a rifle with you, the dusty old thing you found hidden in the basement below the commercial area. It's unusable, sadly. If it were, the bullet would probably fit the chamber. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war, so there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers, you're looking for the same thing you found in that hidden weapons cache. only in working order. Back at the station, the lieutenant is standing at a counter, diligently filling out paperwork to hand over to a tired records clerk. You should share your findings with him as soon as possible.
Hello, officer. I think so. It was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
That's just something people tell themselves when they fail.
Really? It's too much, officer.
What Morel means is we're grateful for your help.
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but,
Wow. Co-discovery. You'd be famous. You'd show them all. This does tingle the pleasure center.
I've got nothing to say to you.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. A bullet, you say? That's mighty curious. Well, there are so many bullets in the world, and so many heads. I guess it's only logical. At some point, one of them bullets had to end up in one of them heads.
It's bound to happen again, you know? Just statistically speaking, of course.
Sire, it would be an event most dramatic if you were to produce the bullet and dangle it before their very eyes.
Wow! He's got it in a real evidence bag and all!
Why don't you go home and log it into evidence? These men have told you what happened.
You know what I think? I think he was shot in the head as a kid, and his brain grew around the bullet.
Around the bullet, man. That's a good one.
All the goofing around is to avoid lying. It's a technique.
Shit! I probably did shoot him. I was drunk last night. You guys know me when I'm drunk.
Yeah, Glenn likes to shoot his guns when he's drunk. Better hope he stays sober.
Before? After? During? This is getting ridiculous. They told you what happened. Stop wasting your time.
Never been worried in my life, lawman.
It's not like you blew it wide open, but there's a little crack in there, somewhere.
A witness? You ain't got shit. The locals would never come to you with this.
That's just cop tactics, Titus. Next, he's gonna tell you one of us already rolled on the others and is in witness protection.
Well, let's hear it then. Who is your mystery fella?
This goes without saying, but nonetheless, don't give out his name.
It's like you said, Al. Copper's coming up with this on the spot. There is no witness.
I've seen this shit a million times, Titus. Fly fishing. They are desperate. Tell us, Copper, what wacky claims did he make?
It's you assholes that feel the need to go around like a fucking brass band. The Hardy Boys are dead silent.
Yeah, it's like they put cowbells on you before they send you to the streets. What's with the cowbells, policeman?
They're avoiding having to answer this question.
We were drinking, weren't we, guys? I hit the bottle hard. I was drunk as fuck.
Arabagite? Boss, I think he's trying to say me and Theo.
Well, yeah. What is confusing you? Eugene, Theo, and Elaine were there too. I already told you. We were all there. That means absolutely nothing to me. Sounds like some made-up horse shit.
What is this fella's problem? Sorry we didn't make it more action-packed. It wasn't the first thing on our minds, you see?
Great witness.
So much bluster to hide the fact that they're uncomfortable with you having this info. You see a heavy steel door with the cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. It leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The door doesn't. The man ponders his cooking utensils. He looks up at you. Then, shrugging is an international sign for no. He smiles and bangs. It's almost like music. The door is closed. Still. This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are right now. Ah, that soap scum smell. It smells like life, at least compared to you. The bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons. The water is only lukewarm, but still comforting, like amniotic fluid. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks. Like now, you are alone with your thoughts in the tub. But it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside the tub. They're not even really thoughts, just assorted sensations, none of them acute enough to focus on. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one bath to get rid of that stench. Then, houses along a narrow street, a video rental, darkness on the planet's curvature. The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist skin. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. You see yourself, the expression, fixed to your clean A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. You see yourself, the expression, fixed to your clean... Well, hello. Someone seems to have found himself a bottle of alcohol. Here's where the magic happens. What a solid can of mass-produced piss water. Well over 10% alcohol in this so-called beer. Pop it open before it gets too warm. Wow, the gods of mass production have made this alcohol container laughably easy to open. A child could have done it. There's a satisfying pop as the cap comes off, and the hair on your back rises like an army at attention. You've been here before. Welcome back, detective. You're nothing. Some mental stuff. Nothing to be worried about. Physically, you'll be strong as an ox. Fine. We're not worried. You'll crawl back to this bottle soon enough.
You've passed up your chance to start drinking alcohol for now.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's like something snaps in you. A nerve ending. A thought. A sadness. Your face in the mirror is suddenly clean of the layer that had distorted it for God knows how long. Just like that, it's over. The running gag that your life had become. A sad old man looks back at you. A mirror hangs on the bathroom. The bed is still cold.
Yes?
Again? I can't believe this shit.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabinier do for you?
I have really how...
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston.
René. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? It is such a pleasure to see you again. Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week. But that's all I know, really. Of course, officer. I mean, I hope I can. What's on your mind? Oh, the goal is to throw your bull. As close to the cochonnet as you can. That's the cochonnet. Well, first, you draw a circle about a half a meter in diameter. We made ours out of rope. Then, the order of play is determined by a coin toss. You win it. You get to throw the cochonnet. Then, the players aim to throw their bulls as close to the cochonnet as possible. They must stay in the circle and keep both feet planted. I could, but I'd rather not. I don't want to take up your time with trivial details, officer. You'll put that knowledge to good use in 50 years. I'm sure of that, officer. I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder. Well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, you notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things.
You can barely hear him. The sweet smell of pickles in harmony with garlic butter and marinated onions emanating from the sandwich is driving your mind in a singular direction. It must end. Then it hits you. The brilliant bastard has drenched the entire sandwich in honey mustard. That's incredibly decadent and delicious.
Fuck off! It's mine!
A glimmer of respect flashes in Rene's eyes.
Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
And it's gone.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? You're a special kind of vermin, Gaston.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer.
All right, this is how we're gonna do it.
Like what, officer? This is as good as they come in Revachol, I assure you.
An array of delicious recipes flashes through your mind. Salads, salmon, sandwiches. Bing. This calls for an engineering angle. Structural rigidity, exposed rafters, lattice works, that type of approach.
That would certainly have been an improvement.
Beautiful. Now bring it home with paprika.
Ce serait délicieux! Can you make that sandwich, officer? Wait, but I thought I'd really like to get back to the game now, if there isn't anything else. It is such a pleasure. Let me think. Of course. Oh, that's the cochonnet. You'll put that knowledge to good use in 50.
Waves are beginning to die down.
Why does she care about the waves so much?
What is it with waves and fishermen? We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living. So I asked them to accommodate me. But until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can. So, what will it be, officer?
table, you see an old mirror hangs on the wall.